Hi, I'm Joe Finsternis, and tonight I'm going to be talking to you about a movie called Ichi the Killer. Now, this is a Japanese movie, and it does come with subtitles, but the DVD I've got has got an English dub track on it. So, even if you hate subtitles, you might want to go ahead and stick around anyway, just to see if this movie might appeal to you. Now, going into this film, I thought that this guy on the cover with the slit mouth was Ichi, sort of like as kids, a lot of people thought that Link was Zelda just because he was the main character. But this guy's name is Kakihara, and he is more or less the main character of the story, although he is not the hero by any means. In fact, I would even argue that Ichi the Killer doesn't have any heroes in it. And another thing about this film is that it's not purely horror. It has a lot of elements of horror in it that I think genre fans would appreciate, particularly lots and lots and lots of blood. So if you're a gore hound, this definitely might interest you, but I would consider it to be more of a crime thriller. For a good amount of running time, you're following Kakihara as he's trying to figure out what happened to his boss, Anjo. You know, this guy disappeared along with a large amount of money, and eventually, Kakihara finally discovers that the source of his boss's disappearance is this guy named Ichi, and supposedly Kakihara is going to be Ichi's next target. And I love how they set up Ichi's character in this movie. At the very beginning, you get the aftermath of one of his kills, and it is just absurdly gruesome. I mean, the floor is slippery with blood and entrails, and even the ceiling is dripping with blood. It even looks like a piece of the ceiling has been torn open, so it's clear to see that Ichi is just as bad as Kakihara, if not worse. And something that I kind of loved about it, too, was that when Ichi first showed up, I don't want to spoil too much, but he wasn't necessarily what I expected in this movie. I ended up feeling more sorry for him than I thought I would. I mean, he's still a killer, and he's still a pretty volatile character, but at the same time, he is kind of a sympathetic killer. And whenever you do see him in action, it just goes ridiculously over the top with the blood. I mean, there are just fountains spraying from people, and there's even some pretty cheesy looking CGI during those kill scenes, like when this one guy's face splatters against a wall and then it just goes sliding down. It gets pretty cartoony, and it kind of reminded me of Tokyo Gore Police a little bit, although it's not nearly as goofy as that movie was. I have seen this listed before as one of the most disturbing movies, and I can see why, because there are some scenes in the film involving Kakihara that are pretty hard to watch. Particularly this interrogation scene that happens within the first 20 minutes of the movie. So, and then at the same time, there are some isolated moments of silliness in the movie. Like there was one particular scene involving some fake dog ears that I thought was pretty silly. And overall, the film has this sort of stylized feel to it, particularly at the very beginning of the movie. There were these moments where the camera was zooming in on people in fast motion, and then it would pause on someone and the sound would cut off, although it wasn't constantly doing that. In fact, I think that stuff only happened within the first couple minutes of the movie. It never got so stylized that it felt annoying, so overall, the film is just like a mixed bag of different things, which I wouldn't have previously imagined would have worked together, but it is a pretty entertaining movie. And I'm not all too unfamiliar with Takashi Miike's work. Before this, I've seen Audition, which was really good, and Imprint was pretty decent as well, although I thought the twist that happened in the middle of the film was pretty silly. And One Missed Call was decent, although to tell the truth, I can't remember a whole lot of it. I'm probably going to have to revisit that film at some point, but out of the films I have seen so far, Ichi is the most entertaining, And I am aware that there's another film of his out there called Visitor Q, which is on my wish list right now. So hopefully I'll get to seeing that at some point. In the end, if the concept of this movie does appeal to you, I would say go ahead and watch it. Just keep in mind that it is a fairly unusual sort of film. It's not like anything I've seen before. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about Ichi the Killer. I hope you all have a good one.